Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. As we are following some breaking news right now, officials are holding a press conference at Newark Liberty International Airport after the FAA posted this to social media. We're now learning about a telecommunications outage that did happen this morning. Let me read this to you in full. It says, "This information is preliminary and subject to change. There was a telecommunications outage that impacted communications and radar display at Philadelphia Area C, which guides aircraft in and out of Newark Liberty International Airport airspace. The outage occurred around 3:55 a.m. on Friday, May 9th. That's this morning. It lasted approximately 90 seconds. This comes also after the FAA issued a ground stop at Newark Liberty International Airport this morning as well, but that was due to construction. That ground stop was in effect until 11:15 a.m. Eastern time, so that has expired. But just to recap with you here, last week, air traffic controllers at the FAA facility in Philadelphia lost radar and radio signals while directing planes to Newark for nearly 90 seconds, and that caused significant delays and flight cancellations that do remain ongoing. Now, as I just said, we are getting this press conference in live right now as we are hearing from officials. Let's head over there and listen in.
Thank you for joining me here at Newark Airport, Terminal A, where since Monday we've seen more than 1,700 cancellations and delays, many of them last minute. I do want to begin, before I get into it, thanking law enforcement who's here. You got Port Authority PBA, Frank Conti is here as well. You've got a lot of people here on the team from Port Authority, and I want to thank everyone for taking a minute to be here, because this issue couldn't be more important, not just to our economy in New Jersey and in the region, but to the safety and well-being of all of our families. United Airlines has cut 35 regularly scheduled flights from Newark, and its CEO even told people to go to other airports because of these issues. Travelers have had it with the delays. I've heard from a lot of them. They're calling me, they're talking to me. You see them posting about the delays, about the cancellations. This airport is a key hub for our economy in the region. 20% of America's GDP runs through this region. It's not because, and by the way, they're not frustrated because Newark isn't one of the best airports in the world. It is. It's not because of our workers here, the best, which they are, including our law enforcement, including everybody who works on the ground, in baggage, the flight attendants, and those in the tower, right? Everybody who makes this place work. But what they're frustrated about and angry about and concerned about is because right now the airport simply lacks the FAA tower staffing levels, modern technology, and infrastructure that we need to make sure that this airspace, the busiest airspace in the world, runs efficiently, smoothly, and safely 24/7. You add that to the ongoing runway construction here at Newark, which was planned, and you can see why things overall are a mess at this airport, and why things are jammed up, and why those delays are occurring every day right now, and cancellations occurring every day. Last year, nearly 146 million passengers flew in and out of the New Jersey, New York metro area, a new record. Our region is a key economic artery for our country. Yet this region, the Newark sector, as the FAA calls it, one of the busiest airspaces in the world, as I mentioned, is running off a tower that's full of copper wire dating back to the 1980s with outdated and inefficient technology. And the region is short, and this is a big deal, the region is short about 40 air traffic controllers that it needs. 40. So you're talking about, right now it has around 22, and it should have somewhere in the 60s. The result is lots and lots of delays and canceled flights, and air traffic controllers who are way overworked and extra stressed. It also means that people are increasingly choosing other airports to fly in and out of. All of this, to me, is unacceptable. As somebody who works for Jersey, who fights for Jersey, this is unacceptable, both at this airport and what the FAA is doing. If any of us were running the FAA, this wouldn't be happening right now. I'll say it again, our air traffic controllers are the best in the world, and everything they do, by the way, I'm very proud of them, but everything they need to do, they're unable to do when you're so short-staffed. And that means that flights get canceled and flights get delayed. On a good day, our air traffic controllers are under an immense amount of pressure to do a lot with what they're given. When the slightest error could be deadly, as we know, we must do everything we can to fix this problem, from staffing levels to technology, and get Newark Airport flying again at the levels it should be. But the question is, how do we get here? Our system for managing air traffic is, quote, incredibly old. The Secretary of Transportation called it frail, Newark Airport. Frail. It relies on floppy disks and copper wires instead of more modern fiber wires. The tower facility, which oversees all incoming traffic right now into Newark, was built in 1973. 1973. Think about how old that is. It's like Brady Bunch era. And on April 28th, a copper wire fried and wiped out all communications between controllers and planes for up to 90 seconds, causing 5 employees to go on trauma leave, further worsening air traffic controller shortage and causing more delays and cancellations. Imagine a minute and a half with no communication, radar or radio. Big news out today, just now. My understanding is there was yet another outage in the last hours, another 90-second outage of radar and radio in the region. That's the second time in a matter of days. Imagine a minute and a half with no communication and all those lives relying on you, as those in the tower have to deal with. These are issues that many of us, including me, have been on for years, along with the Port Authority and the FAA. I visited the tower here, actually, not long ago, and saw firsthand how antiquated the systems are at this airport. Air traffic controllers working grueling, around-the-clock shifts. Some are working overtime without air conditioning, having to pass little pieces of paper. If you've been in the tower, they're literally passing little pieces of paper to communicate, paper slips, exposed pipes, roofs ready to cave in around them. You got to see this thing. Making things worse, as I mentioned, there are not nearly enough air traffic controllers. Staffing is at its lowest point nationwide in 30 years, with more than 90% of our nation's air traffic controller facilities operating below FAA recommended staffing levels. There are 73 facilities that are missing a quarter of their workforce, with controllers retiring by the age of 56 and it taking up to 4 years to train and replace them. That's the average training time, 4 years. We're hemorrhaging experienced staff. And the fewer staff we have, the more stress and hours they have to take on, creating a vicious cycle that we must not act on right now to fix. That's why I was alarmed earlier this year when the Trump administration added to the problems when they gutted the FAA and announced that they were firing 400 workers. It made no sense given how short-staffed we are. These are ground workers who help with the added safety and security of our airports. And it's clearly causing massive stress on the system. While air travel remains the safest form of travel in the country, and I want to be very clear about it, it's the safest form of travel, we still saw from January through April, the National Transportation Safety Board investigated 250 aviation accidents. And tragically, there's been 143 aviation-related deaths already this year. In January, we saw 67 lost souls in that crash over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. So it was good news yesterday when the administration appeared to reverse course and recognize that action should be taken. We heard Transportation Secretary Duffy announce new plans for the FAA to replace or upgrade the decades-old, outdated infrastructure at more than 4,600 sites with new fiber, wireless, and satellite technologies over the next 3 to 4 years. This includes replacing 618 radars that are past their life cycle, 25,000 radios, 475 voice switches, and building 15 new towers, and 6 new state-of-the-art air traffic control centers for the first time since the 1960s. I'll pause for a second. Do you want to set up? You sure? Okay, cool. Again, this is something that many of us have been calling on for years to do. For me, dating back to my first term in Congress. Last Congress, I helped pass the FAA Reauthorization Act, requiring the FAA to deploy critical safety technology at airports across the country to help prevent close calls on and around the runways. to actually help with our broader FAA staffing shortages and technology issues. It's why I worked so hard to help write and pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which includes $53 million for Jersey airports with $42 million for Newark to upgrade our terminals and enhance runway safety. But what the Secretary of Transportation proposed yesterday is a massive project that just won't happen overnight and with the snap of a finger. Here are steps we got to take to make sure we get it done. First, I'm calling on the Trump administration and the Secretary of Transportation to send their FAA air traffic control overhaul plan to Congress to vote on by June 1st. They should fast-track this, get it to us to vote on by June 1st. This should be an emergency funding request that Congress brings to the floor immediately to vote on to get these resources moving to help fix the technology at our airports, including in our towers. Outdated technologies I mentioned in the tower that oversees all incoming flights here that dates back to 1973, copper wires that probably caused the outage that happened again today for another 90 seconds of radar and radio. It's clear that we can't afford to delay fixing our towers any longer. No more copper wires. No towers that don't have Wi-Fi.